Okay, and we're live. How are you today? I'm with Mrs. Central Oregon. Now, I did get that right, correct? Central
Yes,
Oregon?
Miss Central
Awesome.
Oregon.
Yay!
Yes, that's correct. Yay!
Super exciting. Okay, so this is, I guess, a bonus braided live. So we had actually talked about Jeannie coming on Braided Live. I think it was in the fall. Is September, somewhere like that. But I found out that the pageant was she's running for or competing in the Mrs. America Oregon. Is that the right system? Okay.
Mrs. Oregon America, yes.
Okay, Mrs. Oregon America pageant. And I found out it was this weekend. And so I got super excited and asked her if she would do a special braided live with us because I want to hear about her platform and about pageantry. And it's such a busy week. If any of y'all have ever done pageants, then you know that the week leading to the pageant is crazy, but she was so gracious to come on the show. And so thank you.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. This is good practice for me. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So let's just start off with, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I'm a mom of 4 kids, 5 when you count my stepdaughter. I'm a massage therapist for the past 10 years. My kids are ages 21, soon to be 20, about to turn 18, 16, and 14.
Wow.
I've been a massage therapist for 10 years. I'm a marathon runner. I've completed 20 marathons, including the Boston Marathon. And we have 3 cats, and their main names are Mitzi, Cupcake, and Muffin because we like to bake. And when I'm not like running or working or being mom, I like to sew anything from like vintage My Little Pony stuffed animals to vintage costumes like Renaissance. Of course.
Wow, that's awesome.
It's fun for me. I love that. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I don't think I knew that about you.
What part?
The sewing part.
Oh yeah. Sewing. I just every now and then I take big breaks and then I get into a big sewing kick and I have to pick it up again.
Oh, that's so much fun. Well, so I met Jeannie. Actually, I think I had friend requested you back when we lived in Washington. We had some mutual pageant sister friends. And with me being new to the area, I was wanting to make some friends. And I knew to lean into pageant sisters because it's a sisterhood like no other, even if you don't, well, like us, take us, for example.
Yeah.
We had never met, and I messaged you, and you were so friendly, immediately became my sister. And then I went and supported you. I think was it the United States pageant?
Yeah, that was the one in 2017. And my daughter Lexi was competing with me, and she was crowned the Oregon preteen that year. And so I remember meeting you that time, and you were so supportive and so wonderful. I'm thankful that you're in my friend circle.
Yes, and we've been friends ever since. And I think that's the beauty about pageantry. I mean, whether you're a child or a teenager or, adult, it's one of the best things that I've really enjoyed about pageantry.
Yeah.
So let's just get into the nitty gritty because I want to know all about this weekend. So, we were talking before we went live and I was asking you, when do y'all start? So first of all, I guess tell us a little bit about your platform, because with every pageant, we have to have a platform, a message we're standing behind. So I'd love to hear more about yours.
So my platform's my own personal platform called Just the Right Touch. And it comes from my background as a massage therapist. I've been a licensed massage therapist for 10 years. And my Just the Right Touch, it comes from like so many times I just understand how much we as people really need touch. We need hugs. We need massage, but we also need high fives. We need pats on the back. And we really need to connect with people. And there's so many times as a massage therapist that I've been told, while I was giving someone a massage, they're like, oh my gosh, if everybody got more massage, there'd be less suicide, less divorce, less depressed people, less anxiety and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. But unfortunately with COVID, happening. I mean, we were already a touch deprived culture before COVID, but even more so now. And I just think of how much people have been so touch deprived because of COVID.
Mhm.
And the crazy thing is we are all healthier as as humans when we do get regular touch, whether it's from our spouse or a loved one or a friend or a coworker or whatever. We need those hugs, and we shouldn't be afraid of touch and connection with people.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
yeah.
So with that being said, so what I know, like in the pageant, when you're competing for a pageant, you do events or I can't even think of the word now.
Appearances.
Appearances. So based off of your platform, what kind of appearances were you able to do?
Especially with COVID, there really wasn't much going on. So I did just a series of videos with different things regarding touch or massage related, demonstrations to information, even just about like setting boundaries with touch, because that is an important side thing of touch, because touch can be misconstrued, and everyone as a person should be able to say, I don't like that touch, and that's not okay, because that's a big part. So my appearances were really largely online, but thankfully things are opening up finally. So what I look forward to, if I'm crowned Mrs. Oregon, I really want to go to health fairs and even bring chair massage. And just chair massage is a great way to help people experience touch or massage in a friendly way. Non-threatening, they don't have to take their clothes off or anything like that, but just experience chair massage. But also talk about just the benefits of touch and why we need it. But that's one way. And then another way I really want to go to is MOPS. MOPS is a organization. Have you heard of MOPS?
Yes, I have.
I went to MOPS when my kids were little, and I loved it, and I loved the speakers. MOPS is for mothers of preschoolers, and I love that. And so I'm looking forward to going to the other MOPS organizations all around Oregon and share with them my story and my platform and all that, and then just set up interviews as I can.
I love that. So you've been a massage therapist for quite a long time. So aside from like the importance of touch and all of that stuff, and I completely get that. My husband is currently building our dogs a giant dog house from scratch, and I could tell he was a little grumpy yesterday, and so I gave him a little massage, and he would probably kill me for telling the story. But I gave him a little massage, and then I was like, "Here, lean back. I want to hold you." And he was like, "You're such a girl." But anyway, I could just completely tell like the difference. Like, he just seemed, because he's been working so hard on this doghouse and whatnot. But so aside from, just the importance of, I don't feeling that, I guess it's almost brings an emotional way, like an acceptance maybe. But what are the health benefits like for getting massages, like aside from, I guess the mental
Just feeling good.
Yeah.
Well, they say, so for that, even just connecting with your husband that way and giving him a massage and then holding him, in that time period, there was the hormone oxytocin that was released. And oxytocin is often called the love hormone, and it's released during childbirth, and it builds that connection between mom and baby. So after labor is done, mama loves her baby, and she doesn't hate her baby for going through that pain of labor. So all that was gone through is forgotten, and now she has this connection with her child. So when a hug happens, I've read studies about touch. When a hug happens for about 20 seconds or more, oxytocin is released. So that builds connection with you and that other person. And then other things, like I can give one of my kids like a scalp massage or a foot massage, and that 20 seconds or more, oxytocin is released. We're building a relationship between mom and kid. And so many parents need that. And kids need that. And so that alone, having that connection and that trust that's built with oxytocin release is awesome. Along other benefits is like things like reduced blood pressure. I read a story or read studies about like how if like a husband, say a wife who's going to something stressful like a pageant, and husband like squeezes her hand, holds her hand, gives her a hug for so long, that touch can reduce her blood pressure. So it's a great stress reducer. And when we reduce stress, we also boost our immune system. So these are awesome things that we really we take for granted. Touch and what a difference it can make in just our immune system and our emotional health and our mental health.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard of a story before where they did a study, and I'm sure you might know what I'm talking about, where they did a study, and I think it was like baby koalas or something, where they had one, or maybe it was a totally different animal, but they didn't let the mom touch the animal or something. And then with one they did, something like that. But I just remember that study. I should have looked that up before we hopped on here. But do you like recall hearing anything like some kind of study like that?
It sounds a lot like the studies that show how babies fail to thrive without touch. And it's just that, they fail to gain weight, eat healthy, and even just that, like, their emotional, like, things being right with them later on as a human, how their ability to connect with other people could be challenged because they weren't held enough in those early days. So I think about that. There's actually hospitals that enlist volunteers to cuddle babies. So in case there's so many babies in the infant care area of hospitals, so make sure that these babies are held often enough if their parents aren't able to. So I think that's so cool, and just the example of how important touch is.
Yes. So, say a parent, well, okay, let's just take MOPS, for example. Obviously those are small kids. So what is something that you would and we have a lot of moms in this group. And so I love that we're touching on this topic, because I think so many times moms get so busy. I mean, even wives, with their husbands, that we get busy and life's happening. So what are some things that you would tell, the moms in here, that how important it is, which we've already touched on a lot of that. And what are some things, you talked about safe touching and massaging, and I love that you're bringing that up, especially in this day and age. So just what are some ways that moms can connect with their kids in that way?
This is a personal story. Like when I was young mom, my kids, of course, are older. They're all teens at this point. But something that they all loved when they were little was I would roll them around on the bed, and I would be standing there on the bed, and they would be on the bed, and I would just be like, I'd push them on the bed like they were like a burrito, and I'd be like, oh, go this way, now go this way, now go this way, and they loved it. And like one of my children, my youngest is 14, and like a year ago she still asked for me to do that. And so it was just that fun touch of just positive and joy and fun. And then other things like just asking, oftentimes just, as a parent, we think we can just swarm our kid and just smother them with a hug if we want it, and forgetting that they might not be in a place where they might not want that or whatever. And just, I've learned from massage therapy school to ask ahead of time, hey, mama needs a hug. Can I have a hug, or can I give you a hug? And being okay in my own emotions and me as a mom, and not feel rejected if they say, nah, not right now. Like, okay, I get it. I'll give you your space. So just to be okay with that and know that your child has their own feelings, and it's okay for them to say no, and let them know it's okay for them to say no to touch whoever it is. That's important. And it's just giving them the freedom to establish their own boundaries with their own body and what's okay and what's not okay.
I love that. And that's so important that they learn that, right away. I have a friend who we were talking the other day, and we were talking about how she gets frustrated when people try to force like a hug from her little girl. Her little girl's 4.
Mhm.
And I was like, I don't blame you. She was like, I don't get it because I've been like scolded by another mom before, like, oh, they need to learn how to respect their elders. And she was like, true, but I also need her to know how to respect her own body and herself. And it's like, oh, I loved that. I loved that.
It's so important because, you know, maybe something happens where she got a hug and she didn't want it and she has to put up with it. If that happens over and over again, at some point, that's not a healthy pattern. And she has to, you know, everyone needs to have a space where they can stand up for themselves and be, you know, this is not okay for me and I'm going to separate myself.
Yes.
And that's healthy.
Love that. Okay. So what about wives to their husbands? What are some good tips? And, you know, I don't know, just I'm a wife. I know sometimes we get frustrated with our hubbies. So is there, I don't know, is there a, a thing to, even if there's frustration, how maybe just that touch can ease whatever, if you're, you know, fighting or whatever?
Sure, definitely. Well, I can say, you know, I'm in my second marriage and I compare my 2 marriages and they're very different. I've learned that there's 5 love languages and 5 love languages. One of them is touch, and that is one of the ways to communicate love to somebody. And I realized that is high up on my priority list. My first husband was not a touchy-feely person or a huggy person, and unfortunately, we just couldn't connect in that way. And I didn't realize it at the time that I'm like, okay, if you need to communicate love to me, I need hugs and I need pats on my back and I need these different things. And so, so my second husband, who is wonderful, he's always working at how he can communicate love to me, and he appreciates that love language. Touch is great for both of us, but there's a lot of times where I have to correct him and be like, don't touch me that way. I don't like that. It doesn't feel good. And he responds, and I appreciate that. And so that's just me as a wife establishing a boundary, saying, that touch is not good. And so I think that it's just doing it out of love and how to improve the relationship, I guess.
Yes.
And establish boundaries again with like what's okay, what's not okay, and how to treat me, what makes me feel good, and what's gonna be a downer.
Yeah. So my husband will. I always get this crick right here in my neck, and he'll start to, you know, massage it, and I'm like, oh, and then he's like, okay, time to go right in, and I'm like, oh. And it's so funny because like it'll hurt, but then it like feels good.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah.
Anyway, so awesome. Okay, so we had somebody comment, I love this. I'm lucky that my 6-year-old son loves to cuddle with me still. He requests it. I love that. I love that. So with that being said, and I love that she commented that because when we were talking about kids, I wanted to ask, is there a way for when they're, I guess, babies? I mean, I'm trying to figure out how to word this. It's like, I know what I'm trying to say, but I don't know how to articulate it. Like what are some tips to help kids kind of grow into, you know, like the 6-year-old who requests it? I mean, because I would imagine that, I mean, I'm not a mom, so I don't know, but I would imagine that if kids aren't, you know, touched or loved on, then they grow up kind of not wanting that.
Right. And then all of a sudden it's odd or weird.
Yeah. So I mean, without forcing it, does it just start when they're a baby that you make sure to hug them and all of that stuff?
I think so. And then, I mean, I even find myself in patterns with my own kids. I mean, my younger 2 girls are 14 and 16. And so for a while, my 14-year-old, it was our morning habit to get a morning hug. And she's 14. And I love that my teenager still wants to get a hug from mama in the morning before school starts. But I don't know, life lately, I've been busy with work or whatever. And we've kind of falling out of that habit. And so I catch myself and I'd be like, hey, can I have a hug? Mama needs a hug. Can I have my morning hug? And she'll be like, oh, yeah, of course, Mama.
Yeah.
And so it's just me also remembering, oh my gosh, I haven't hugged my kids lately. I need one. And then, you know, my 16-year-old daughter, she's not as much of a hugger as my 14-year-old daughter. And so I might ask, hey, can I give you a neck and shoulder massage? And she loves that because she gets headaches and that's her thing. So, or scalp massage or whatever it is, just to connect. And then lately after that, she might request a hug from me or give me a hug because we've had that massage earlier or something like that. So it's just remembering. A lot of times it's just asking your child, hey, can Mama have a hug? Mama needs a hug. And a lot of times kids, they just love Mama so much. They just want to make Mama happy.
I love that. And that's kind of what I was thinking. That's a good way to like even just kind of give them I don't want to say control, because obviously you never want your kids to feel like they're in control, but that they can serve, you know, their mom,
yeah.
You know, just as well. So I
totally. And that something's not going to be taken from them, but they can offer it if they're asked. You know, and they can also have the freedom to say no, not right now, Mama, and that's okay.
And that's important, because I know a lot of mamas in here, I'm guessing, no, you're going to hug me because I'm your mom.
Which is sad because, you know, I don't know. I think, you know, as a Christian, I think God gives us choice to love him or to not. And he doesn't make us do anything. And he's so polite in his love towards us.
Yeah.
So I think of that with my kids. I don't want to force anything on my kids. And sure, there's looking out for my kids in the best interests, but still for some things like touch, I'm like, I'm not going to force a hug on you if you don't want it.
Yes, that's so true. So is there anything that, like, throughout this year, you know, I know that with COVID, it was hard to do a lot of appearances and stuff, but is there anything that just kind of sticks out to you throughout this pageant year leading up to the pageant?
You know, I really do wish I could have gotten to do some actual appearances about touch and hugs and everything. But what makes me happy is that I did enough Facebook videos, and one actually got over 900, almost 900 views.
Wow.
And so I was really excited. So, and it's still building. So I'm hoping even maybe by Pageant Weekend, it'll be full 900, but it makes me happy because it went out as far as to the UK. So it went past our country, and I'm like, that's so cool. People need touch and they need to learn how to give a foot massage. So that was a video on foot massage.
Awesome.
So it just makes me happy.
You'll have to share that in the group so that way we can try to help push you over to.
Oh yeah,
I'll
do that.
Yes.
My daughter Gabby and I did it, and we had such a great time together doing it. So
that's awesome. So with this, with COVID and all of that stuff, and I don't really remember how they would gauge like appearances and stuff, but are now, like, with COVID and online stuff and video and stuff being, you know, so popular, is the pageant, do they kind of look at that stuff, like the videos and the stuff that you're doing and all of that stuff?
I think so. I think they hold it just almost as highly as live appearances, because I'm still reaching out into the community. It's available to whoever wants to see it. Yes. So I think that's awesome.
Cool. Okay, so what inspired you to start pageants?
I actually did my first one my senior year in high school. Largely, I just wanted to do it because I got tired of just seeing it on TV and all these wonderful, awesome ladies doing it. I'm like, well, if they get to do it, why can't I? So it just looked like so much fun, and I wanted to try it. And that's kind of how it started.
Yay, awesome. And so you mentioned earlier that you were a Christian, and this is a faith-based group. So how do you feel God fits into your pageant life? And I think this is an important question because I think that pageantry there, it's almost like, I don't want to say a gray area, but a gray area. Like some Christians think they're okay, some Christians think they're not okay. Obviously, I'm one that thinks they're okay. But how do you feel God leads you when you're doing pageants, or how He's present in it with you?
I ask him so much ahead of time and during the whole process, God, is this what you want me to be doing? Can you please coach me if you want me to be doing this? What would be your insights, Holy Spirit? You know, if just what, and then also, God, what do you want me to learn from this experience? And how do you want to use this to help me grow as a person so I can hopefully be more helpful to other people? And then with that, it's like, you know, of course, with pageantry, there's the whole judging thing of like, okay, we're going to be judged. I'm going to get a score. I'm either going to go home with a crown or I'm not going to go home with a crown. And something I got from the last time when I competed first in Mrs. Oregon America in 2016, I felt like God was kept on telling me, Jeannie, hold your head up high. Keep your shoulders down, walk tall like you're a princess, because you're my daughter, and I've accepted you, not based on what you look like, what you've done, or anything like that, but you're a daughter of the king, and I want you to walk like it. Because a lot of times in life, I think for me, I feel like I've fallen short or I'm a disappointment to somebody, so I deserve to walk the head down, shoulders down. And God's like, no, I've accepted you fully and I love you 100%. Don't walk like that. You're a daughter of the king. I've placed a crown on your head. And so that's, I think, what he tries to keep on hammering into me to not do that and to know that I'm fully loved and accepted. And I don't have to win a crown, an earthly crown, because he's given me one. But with that, also, for me as a massage therapist, it's like, I feel like people need to hear that touch is good and we need it as a people. And I know in the Bible, in Esther, God put her in that position to save the Israelites, to keep her people safe, and he gave her that position. And so I believe, with a platform, with a title, you're able to make a greater impact than just me, Jeannie Gross or Jeannie Swope-Haun, as a massage therapist.
Yeah.
I want to, if God wants to use me in that way, then I want to be used. So I guess that's how I see it.
I completely agree, because I think if you're in a position or you feel called to do something where you do have a platform where you're using it for good, you're using it for God. And I mean, when I think about even some of the Christian musicians and stuff, they have been given a gift. And that's what they use it for, to spread, the gospel and to spread a good message and to use their platform for good. And so I think that's the main thing is what is the intention of your heart. And whenever, because I did pageants, as a teenager as well. And when I got married and I got approached to do my first Mrs. pageant, and I talked to my husband about it, and that was the first thing he said is, I don't see a problem with doing it, but what I would like for you to do is, number one, pray about it. And number two, ask yourself, what is the posture of my heart going into this? And if you feel like there's any part of ego in it, then I would encourage you to wait to do it until. And I thought that was such valuable advice, and wisdom, because it does matter how you go into a pageant, and people can see it, people can feel it. So I love that. And I'll I know you on a personal level. And so I know that your posture, your heart posture going in is beautiful. And I love who you are. And I'm just so excited to see how you're going to do with this pageant. So everybody be praying. Everybody be praying.
5:30 on Friday is my interview. I need all the prayers. I feel good. I'm so excited. I love interview, but I'm asking God to help me slow my words so I don't get excited and talk too fast.
Yes.
And just I really love massage. I love touch. I love people, and I do what I do because I love people. And I think people need to hear that touch is okay and not to be afraid of it, not let their kids be afraid of it.
And what I love about your platform is that it's very unique. It's not, and not that cookie cutter platforms, the usual that you see. Not that those aren't important, because they obviously are.
Yeah.
But I also love that you're doing something different and you're stepping outside of the box, and it can fit any season of life you're in, or any relationship, whether it's a friend, whether it's a spouse or a child, a baby. It's so important. So I love what you're doing.
Thank you.
We'll wrap it up soon because I've been talking your ear off. So just real quick, if you can walk us through this pageant weekend, what it looks like.
Sure. So 12 to 3 on Friday is check-in for the pageant. I'll get my welcome bag, my swag bag. And then I'm so excited. I can't wait to see what the sponsors and what kind of little fun gifts we get. And then 3 o'clock, I go to hair and makeup to get all dolled up for my interview. And then that's going to be about 2 hours. And then I'm going to race from that salon back to the hotel and head into interview. And my interview is at 5:30. I will be interviewing with 5 judges. And with each judge, I will have 4 minutes, and that's not a lot of time. And so they just really want to get to know me. And I really enjoy interview. It's a lot of fun. I think it's fun to get to meet. It's a little daunting because you read their profiles of each judge and you're like, oh my gosh, these are really, really special, amazing, powerful people. And I'm talking to them, and that's so cool. But it's fun. So I'm looking forward to it. And then after that, we're going to do a gift exchange among the contestants. And there's 9 of us. There's 6 of us married ladies, and then 3 in the Ms. category. So that'll be Friday night, and that's it. And then Saturday, we have rehearsals from 10 till 2 to practice our opening production number, dance, and that'll be fun. And then, and then after from 10 till 2, that's it. And then we have pocket of time to get ready, about 2 hours or so to get stage ready, and then the pageant starts at 5:30. And then stage part is opening production number, and that part's not judged, it's just a dance to get the jitters out and have fun. And then after that, we do swimsuit and evening gown and onstage question, and then they do awards and crowning.
Awesome. So is this streamed online for us to watch?
I am hoping it will be. They're saying that they're working on it, so it's either going to be free or it's going to be a low cost. So I haven't gotten the details on that yet, but as soon as I know, I will let you know.
Awesome. Well, before we wrap up, is there anything that you would like to share? And I normally ask 2 questions before, like when we're ending, but since this was so impromptu, I'm not going to do that with you because I normally give people the time to do it. So the time to kind of like think about it and, but I will ask you if there's anything else that you want to share with us before we close up.
I just want to say I have really enjoyed doing pageants, and it is challenging to do one and compete in one, and how it's like, and it's a lot of emotional up and down the journey, and then pageant weekend. But I still, even with all of that, I want to encourage, who's ever listening out there, to moms or whatever, if you haven't done it, consider doing one, because it's so fun. You learn so much about yourself, and if anything, it's a huge girls' weekend where you get dolled up and you wear a pretty dress and you have reason to maybe exercise and take care of your body a little bit more and just appreciate who God has made you to be. And that's a big reason why I like to do them, because it's just a chance to feel celebrated, because every woman should be celebrated.
I love that. And you meet so many amazing people. Like I have met some of the most phenomenal people in doing pageants. So that, like, I love it. I'm so excited for you for this weekend. So how can people find you?
So they can find me on my Facebook page. There's Mrs. Central Oregon. That's me, Jeannie Swope-Haun. Yay!
Yay! Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. So last minute, I appreciate it. And good luck this weekend. We are going to be praying for you and cheering you on. And as soon as you find out if we can watch it online, let me know so I can share it in the group. And I will be also reaching out to you to share that video in here so we can push you over 1K.
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much. That'd be awesome.
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we will talk to all of y'all soon. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.